And from the looks of things, it's going to be monumental, bro.
Yeah.
What do you see? How do you see that working out? She said you guys had a short conversation about
Yeah,
it.
100%. I think Ronda would be a great help to promote MVP and MMA and to bring in a lot of fighters and help us do big events. And we're very excited for this one. We know it's going to do extremely well, especially with Francis and Felipe. And we got some amazing other fights being negotiated right now. So I see a future where Ronda's a part of it and helping us promote.
How pressed do you think the UFC feels by you guys right now, and the energy and momentum you guys look like you're about to have, and particularly Dana? Do you feel like there's, he feels a way?
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm not really sure, and we don't really think about that on a daily basis. We're just focused on fighters first and making as big of events as possible and disrupting the space. But I guess, yes, at the end of the day, we are competitors to the UFC now and Zuffa boxing. So they're going to be competitive and we're going to be competitive.
And would you fight Ngannou for real though? I mean, it sounds like you guys he
boxing.
In boxing?
Yeah,
no, because we want to know if you want to get into
100%.
MMA too.
No, I'll do MMA at some point. My first fight would probably have to be against someone my own weight. But I think I've made it clear in the sport of boxing that I'm down to fight anyone, right? I took on
100%.
Anthony Joshua, Mike Tyson, Chavez, like just all these people, Anderson Silva. Like, I'm really down to run it with whoever in the sport of boxing. And I think me versus Francis would be massive.
Talk about the space and what you're jumping into, disrupting. What does the space of mixed martial arts look like right now?
I think it's actually more ripe for disruption than boxing. In boxing, you have an ecosystem of all these phenomenal promoters. You have existing fight rosters, history, and legacy that is difficult to disrupt. The UFC has done a tremendous job becoming the reference brand for the sport. They haven't kept up with that brand in terms of how it treats athletes and fighters. So I think if someone came in and actually showed a path to fighters that really value them first and foremost, have the right distribution partner, which is a critical component, then there's an opportunity for a true number two in the market.
Francis talked a lot about the importance of being an independent contractor. You mentioned that multiple times. Are you treating the fighters that you're working with as independent contractors? Are they on one-fight deals, or can they leave as they please? So what's the relationship with that?
So from an MMA perspective, this is our first event. And similar to when we did boxing with Jake on Netflix, the question is there more with Netflix and MMA? My answer and his answer are the same. If this does well, we're 100% believe that we're more.
Jake, tell me about your deal with ESPN. That's massive.
Yeah, MVPW, bringing boxing back to ESPN, which is historic in and of itself, but really giving women a massive platform and a schedule of events. And we obviously have the biggest and best roster of women's fighters, and so it's just going to be really exciting to see the best go against the best, and ultimately the fans are going to win because of this deal.
You have a lot of options for fights. What do you think? I've been spending a lot of time with Blueface, and he's hot right now. What do you think about you and Blueface in the ring? He has 2 fights coming up.
That'd be a fade.
He's not very good. I'll respect him, but yeah.
Can you guys elaborate on how you establish yourselves as a viable number two? And I say that in the sense that the UFC obviously is a quantity business. There's a lot of gripes from fans about not getting the fights that they want, et cetera, et cetera. How do you guys make sure you don't necessarily fall into that same pit trap, and maybe you guys are running the right amount of events with the right big name fighters to make an actual disruption?
Yeah, look, we're focused on this and that. Right? So when I spoke to about a viable number two, it doesn't mean it's necessarily us, but I think there is that opportunity with the right structure, with the right front person like Ronda, who is as passionate as she is. It can be achieved much more effectively than it can be in boxing. That's all.
Jake,
can you answer us about the UFC being too much of a quantity business and how it's watered down? Watered down is a term that gets talked a lot about with the UFC these days. Do you feel that the product is watered down?
Yeah, no, I think it's been tough for them to create stars and the fights that they want for how little they're willing to spend. So they're kind of at a bottleneck, and that's why I think we've seen fights that people aren't super excited about, and the biggest stars in the sport like John Jones and Conor McGregor fighting on a consistent basis. And that was what made them so great in the beginning of their business, was just massive, amazing fights all the time, and now they're just not willing to spend money.
Do you understand the sentiment of the White House card being a letdown, or do you understand how the White House itself will be the star of the show?
Yeah, no, I think the White House itself will be the star. I was disappointed by the card, like I think many fans were. Just because there was such high expectations. I think if they weren't hyping it for so long, then maybe if they just announced it randomly, then people would be happy. But they just made it seem like it was going to be the greatest card of all time, and it certainly isn't.
Will you show up to the fight?
We'll see. Yeah, I mean, we'll see.
When can we see you in the ring again? You've been taking some time off.
Yeah, later this year. I got my second surgery recently. So the doctor said like 4, 5, 6 months to even be able to spar to see how the bone is healing. So that puts us like maybe late this year, early next year, potentially for a fight.
How were you able to do better?
Jake, would you rather fight at cruiserweight now or a heavyweight?
Yeah, definitely cruiserweight. Joshua's punches were definitely hurt way more than people my weight. And yeah, that's where I'm best at for sure. And I want to continue to climb back up into the rankings there and make some statements at cruiserweight.
Do you see a Tommy Fury rematch in the possible future?
I don't know, man. Like, I'm not really that hyped on it. Just because they're just difficult to work with. And he just doesn't have anything going on. I'm the only big fight for him, the only payday for him, and at the end of the day I have people like Francis Ngannou, and the list goes on of all these people that want to fight me.
What makes Southern California the biggest market so far for MVP promotions?
It's the right place to bring MMA. It's the first place where Ronda's followers should make their debut with the UFC. Like, so for her to come back to do it, right in a part of Los Angeles.